Hello and welcome to Apiable. I'm going to take a few minutes now to show you around so that you know where to get started. This is the Get Started page, and if you want to come back here, it's on the left-hand side under Get Started. The first thing you should do is style a new portal. If you click on this button, it's going to take you to the theme. And here you can, for example, change your logo to your own logo, the fav icon. You can change the colors to make it quickly resemble your own brand. So that's the first thing you can do. Second thing you can do is connect your API gateway. This takes you on the left-hand side to the integrations. Here we provide out of the box a couple of example API portals which are run by Apiable. You can go ahead and take a look at those. So for example, in this case, it's the Amazon API gateway. We provide full instructions on how to connect the API gateway. If you get stuck, you need help, just reach out to us and we can help you connect the gateways. In the Amazon case, it's very simple. It's a roll-on. For other gateways, it might be an API key, etc. So each API gateway is different. Again, reach out to us if you get stuck. Let's go back to the getting started. And the last part we have here is about creating an API product which connects to your API gateway to make your APIs available to developers. So I have a few example API products in my portal. Let's take one that's probably available in yours, the payments product. And here we can see that we give the product a name, a title, and we tell it where we want it to be found. There are some product categories. I have some available. Enterprise is also available as a category, but you can customize and add as many product categories as you like. For visibility, we have either open or hidden, meaning it's either openly available for developers and customers to see from the portal without needing to be logged in. If you want them to log in to see the API products, then you need to choose hidden. There's also the possibility to say that anybody can connect and use this API, or you can say, okay, it's only for internal teams, or you might want to manually assign it, say, to a partner. Where Apiable starts to get really interesting is when you drill into plans. So you can create a new plan, and that plan implements a specific use case for your product, right? So what we normally find is that a plan is going to have a different set of APIs to another plan. So in this small plan, I might only have like 2 APIs connected, and in the large plan, I might get access to all of the APIs and methods. So in this case, this is one that's already being used by customers, so I cannot change it. But in yours, you can create a brand new one. You can choose your API gateway, and then you're going to get a long list of APIs available in that gateway. And as an API product manager, you can start to pick and choose the APIs you want. It's also possible to select the revenue model. You can choose flat fees, API usage with volume-based pricing, etc., as you see fit. We have API security, where you can say quite easily with like a traffic light system if it's red, amber, or green. If it's red, that means that the level of security isn't very high. Here we have amber, which means we're dealing with like pre-generated OAuth tokens, etc. I can choose if I want someone in my team to approve access to the APIs or not. I can add approval groups. I can also at the same time set limits to the usage of this API. So I can say per month it's 900 something thousand millions, or I can say if it was in a trial case, I could say you can only access 100 times a month. If it was a very high paid plan, you could set it almost unlimited, etc. And under documentation, we can either specify, okay, to have the documentation on an API by API basis, as we have here, or I can switch it and say I want just one larger documentation for the entire plan. But here we're going to stick with the APIs, and I can always add a new version, synchronize with the API gateway, which is currently available only for Amazon API gateway. Or I can choose to manually upload a YAML specification, so it's Swagger or Open API specification. there. You can choose if the API documentation is available directly publicly or if you want someone to log in first. You can see in this case that the plans are all active. So by default, when you create a new plan, it's not active. You have to activate it, and same as the product. It only becomes active in your portal once you've activated it. Let's take a quick look at the portal so you can see how that is. To get to your portal, you can click on Portals and then the open icon. So that's going to open this, and this is my portal that I have. So when you've made changes to your portal, to your logo, etc., it's going to change directly here in this portal. So we have the possibility to view products, for example. So we have a product catalog. I can constrain on those filters that I assigned already. I can go ahead and take a look at some of these plans. I can see marketing features there. I can see the different plans. In this case, there's no monetization, but you can, of course, add monetization, different features. And then we go ahead and we see those different documentation, right? So I can see different versions of the documentation and see documentation on different plans. It might be different. You might have a plan where you don't want them to see it directly until they've logged in, for example. Yeah, so if we go back to the dashboard, we have some extra things here. If you're an enterprise customer, you have, for example, the API catalog, which is going to collect all of your APIs across your organization, deliver them here in one place so you can see what you have, and then you can start to claim it. So you say, okay, for my team, I'm going to go ahead and claim it for the logistics team in this case and say, okay, this is a NASA API, and connect it to the space API. So you're starting to catalog at this point all of the different APIs that we may have. We also have a content management system, so you can go ahead and create new pages as you wish. You can then, in the navigation section, create a new navigation menu item and attach that page to it. So it's a full documentation system. We also have, under the API docs, the possibility to extend the documentation, so you can set your own help and support and say, okay, how you want that to be. You can change the getting started guide. This is with Markdown, Markdoc, and you can do a preview. If you ever get stuck, you can hit the icon in the corner, and there are some possibilities to search for help. We're extending this all the time, but here, for example, I mentioned Markdoc, so I'm going to say, okay, how do I work with Markdoc? And there's some videos and information about Markdoc available there, for example. If you get stuck, you can also reach out to us directly. We're always available. Here's the theme that we already looked at. There are metrics which, when your developers start to make API calls, you can start to see API calls here as well. There are also some cool things under the customization. For example, restricted portal access, if you turn this one on, is going to lock everybody out of the portal unless they know the password. It's also possible, for example, to say, I want this to, I want to change the subdomain. We give you a default domain, but you could put your own company name in there. Or if you have the growth plan and above, you can choose a custom domain. So you can move it to your own developer.domain, for example. Some things we have there. You can wire up your own Google Tag Manager and start adding things directly to the portal yourself. You can connect Stripe to your API portal and so on. Okay, so the last thing we have is under the administration section, is where your administrators would say, okay, they might be approving or denying access to certain API products, for example. They might be looking at the teams of developers and the users wherein. So they can say, okay, if they're approving individual access to the portal, if you switch that on, then that's what they get access to. So that's a few hints and tips on Apiable. I hope you found this useful, and please reach out to us. Just click on the little intercom icon below, and you can also start sending us messages. So you'll get messages pretty quickly from us if you ask us a question. If not, we'll get back to you as soon as possible. But thanks very much. Hope this was useful, and catch you on the next one. Thanks. Bye-bye.